Yes, thank you so much. It is Unfiltered with Oscar Msomi. Today we have Luyanda Mbhele of 8991. I'll say that again, that's 8991. It's a music publishing company that is an independent, independent company that is here in Durban. And today we have the person who is the brains behind it. Of course, he's not the only person who's managing this company because he's doing it with his sister. And I believe Utika Malaka is going to tell us right now. Thank you so much for that. And of course, this is a company that deals with artist rights and how you publish your music, make sure that you protect it and advertise it also in the right channels, just to make sure that it is directed in the right place. And obviously, when you publish music, you don't want to let it out to the world and the next day you find a guy in Mexico is doing your song and you have no idea how to get it back or to get your money out of it. So that's why we have you today, so that you can just give us a bit of an insight on that, Mr. Luyanda Mbhele. How's it going? Thank you so much, King. Thanks again for having me. Thanks again for coming through to Unfiltered with Oscar Msomi. Now, this is basically a podcast that deals with exposing what a black child can do. We're trying to expose what was not done before. They've always hit us with this thing. We had no history because it was never documented.
True.
I think right now with all the technology that we have no excuse to catch what abantu abamnyama are able to do. Exactly. And I guess it's the best time to just show it to the world and showcast it, you know. So Unfiltered moves around. We do have a studio, as you're in the studio today, but we also do move around where we go to places where people actually have their establishments and we communicate with them in those channels. But without even diving far off, I just want us to come back to 8991. If you can just give us a bit description in your own words. Yeah. What is 8991?
8991, we are a music publishing company. Mm-hmm. So we deal with music copyright. Right. Because obviously, music business deals with intellectual property. Mm-hmm. So obviously, intellectual property are the intangible things that come from your mind. Mm-hmm. You know, so obviously we deal with the music, IP, we don't deal with paintings and all of those things. So obviously the music, so when you hear the melody in your head, when you think of the lyrics or anything like that, obviously artists always say inspiration just comes.
Exactly.
You know, so obviously when it comes, when it's still in your head, so from the time it moves from your head
to the paper,
onto paper or onto a recording, like this podcast, someone owns this IP.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's
so
right.
it's just one example.
You protect it in a certain way.
So we help administer it, because obviously in the music business, whoever administers or owns certain IPs, then they're the people who tend to make most of the money.
Because really, there wouldn't be anything that would prevent the next person if you don't have those rights and those that paperwork in place. There's absolutely nothing, especially if you put your stuff out to the world. They can just take the same idea and just pop it up next door, and then you have a rivalry already. So this is where you guys come in. You make sure that the artist is protected, their intellectual property is protected, and maybe there are certain ways that you can actually put this in simpler terms so that we can all understand, even the people that are going to be engaging with this podcast. I'm trying to say, in an instance when, let's say I have a song in my head. Yeah. I woke up at 12 and I was like, there's something just... I have to say it, I have to sing it, I have to record it, I have to put it somewhere. I'll put it on paper so that I remember it in the morning. Maybe hum the melody so that I can remember how it was. Yeah. Go back to sleep, wake up next morning, go to the studio and have it recorded. Yeah. From the point that I recorded, I've already put it out there. Is this the point where I'm supposed to come to 8991 and say, I have an idea? So that you can, from that point, start making sure that I follow the right channels? Or can I start posting it on my Facebook, posting it on my YouTube? And once it's out there and I've had a couple of hits, I'm like, okay, I want to work by time, and then come to 8991 to talk to you. Which is the best time to do those?
Ideally, we'd love for you to notify us of your new works before you release them, before you upload them anyway. But obviously, we live in a time of instant. You know, the phones, digital, everything is instant. So, we're excited about this song, so let's do it live.
Exactly.
You know, just to preview the song, let's see how the public is reacting.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But that's where you drop the ball.
Obviously, that live now serves as proof that I did the song.
Okay.
Before someone else starts,
messing with it.
Yeah. So obviously in a way, the lives are now starting to work as proof to say this is when we did the live. This, you know, but obviously, if we want to get technical about proving your IP, we check on the project file on your Fruity Loops, whatever program you're using,
yes,
the recording. It has a date stamp. It'll say when the project file was created.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So obviously that's where we use that.
First point of departure. From that point, you know exactly what you're working with.
If there's a dispute.
Yeah.
And then obviously, if the dispute persists, then that's when we take the matter to the collection societies, which is SAMRO and Kapaso.
Right.
To say this title by this artist, please put it in suspense until such a time we have
the dispute is resolved.
Yeah, so no one gets paid.
Christian.
No one gets paid for that song.
Right.
So all the monies, whatever money it generates, everything stops until we have resolved it. So obviously they come in as mediators to say, okay, let's find a common ground. And then everyone presents, you know, like it's like mini court.
Exactly.
Everyone presents this is this.
To prove your case, to prove your part.
This is my song.
All right. And I guess you would have had an artist, maybe an artist who you've managed from the time that you managed, because I know that that's how you guys actually started out when you take it back to 2012, before it evolved to what it is today. That's your company. But in the company, in the number of artists that you've had, how have you been able to make sure that they don't have an instance where they put out the music and have it snatched? Or has it ever happened? Maybe what's your experience with it?
We've had something like that. So the song Gobisi Qol, if you remember, there was the street anthem.
It was going around a lot. That was a major song.
You know, before Obiza and all of them got involved. So there was just the street anthem. Everywhere you went, tim, tim, tim. You know,
it was something big.
It
was noise in the street.
You know.
Right.
So obviously when that song came out, we were approached by Uspe, the girl who made that song.
Right.
You know, because at the time, you know. So when I started, you know, following up, I'm speaking to Obiza, I'm speaking to the guy who was managing Uspe, because we came in as publishers.
Right.
So I'm asking what happened. You know, and then they explained, no, they did contact us about the song.
Did that happen?
No, they didn't contact us, but they contacted the manager.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the manager, they explained to you, we want to use the song as now the new version we're going to do. It's going to be Ubusi, so it's going to be Ubiza. I think.
But it was the same song.
It wasn't, the beat was different. It had the same hook.
Right.
Kept the same hook.
Because
that's
basically
what people want.
That's what people fit into. Yeah.
So then that happens, and then obviously, you know, they go up to Joburg, they meet Oskido, they shoot the video. You know, the kids are excited.
Right.
It's a big moment. The song is
and
now,
it's doing well.
On radio,
well.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. The song is everywhere. But now, okay, you know, things happen. They do sign splits for the song, but then there's another kid who came and said, "Wait a minute, I also contributed on the song."
Ooh, that's where problems start, right?
Yeah, you know, so I forgot his name, but he's also one of the.
Was it a film though? Was he speaking?
He was on the beat and not on the lyrics or anything like that, because it splits into two.
Exactly. You have the production and of course the guys that do the lyrics. Yeah.
Exactly. So you know, he was on the beat side, and then yes, was it 2019?
Yeah.
Imagine, the splits were finally sorted. And last year, early this year, SAMRO paid out.
Eventually. So
imagine.
That's
so this song, I think it popped up from 2016.
It's a very old song. If you, I mean, it's 2021 right now. So, but to think Uguti, the rivalry would have gone on for that long. So from the time that the dispute came about, there was nothing that was received from SAMRO and stuff like that. There was nothing that was paid out for that song being aired.
Some was paid out, and then when the dispute was launched, then all monies were stopped.
That's where you guys come in. Yeah. If your artist were to publish a song like that, and then there's some kind of you stand in that artist's corner to support them and to present their case, because you have all the documentation. So from that idea that I had to actually putting the song through your company 8991, and then from that point, where does it go now What's the next step?
Okay, so you guys have made the song, and then you guys are excited. You're like, yo, we've got a great song. Everyone in the studio is like, I hate Lentwana.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So then, at that moment, that's when you're supposed to sign what is called a splits form.
Right.
It's just a simple one-pager. You say, you credit everyone who was part of the process.
Of course.
So the people who wrote the lyrics and the people who made the beat. That's for publishing.
Right.
But the people who are involved in the mixing, mastering, engineering,
that's the other part.
That's the other part, which is with the record label, which is the master.
That's where they get paid.
Yeah, that's where they get paid. So obviously now, if someone was just the engineer, they don't get paid on the publishing because they didn't write, they're not.
And it has nothing to do with the knobs and buttons that are being pressed. Yeah,
no,
that's part of the engineering. Yeah,
that's those are different royalties that you do not get from Samro or Kapas. You get from Sampra.
Okay. Also, there is an establishment.
Yeah, there is just for those people.
Okay.
There is something for those.
At least they're also protected.
Yeah, everyone. You know what I mean? Because I mean, some of these songs make a lot of money, and some don't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I guess what worries me at the end is how it would happen then. I think this also touches into what happens in TV.
Yeah.
You get a person who's into the acting industry, which also follows, I guess, the same route. And then you find when it comes to a certain time when this person passes, even with their song still being aired on radio, they're not that well off. How does SAMRO work for music now? Where in 2016, it made a lot of noise then. I guess I was able to receive money, but then it starts relaxing and going into mainstream. Once it goes into mainstream, the money that comes out of or SAMRO and stuff like that wouldn't be able to sustain a person unless you have a big catalog of music.
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, you need catalog. Right. Because obviously, Imaleningi was big last year, and then it's probably going to start
loses value.
It's going to start paying out. It doesn't lose value. It starts paying out, and then obviously the usage of the song is not as high anymore.
Because there's new songs that have
there's
just
new
been
hits.
released. Yeah.
So radio is now moving on to the next song.
And it's always what's happening, especially for platforms like your radio and TV and television. So your song starts not dying off,
but the income isn't as high as
the graph goes
exactly.
down. Yeah.
So it keeps. But then obviously now that's when opportunities for syncs come in. So that's another revenue. So syncs are when your song is used in an advert,
movies,
drama, all of those things.
Yeah.
So Imaleningi was on KFC. So that song got more.
And right now, I guess it's picking up. I guess now we're referring to Lapo, the one that is making a whole lot. It's making a lot of noise actually for a lot of. I don't know for what reason. For
I think it's
because
it's in an advert.
Yeah, it's the second time actually.
McDonald's or KFC, one of the two brands.
Yeah, it started with McDonald's, and then after that they came to KFC. But they keep using the same song even on radio for those ads.
So now let me just explain to you what's happening. So when a brand approaches you and says, listen, Luyanda, we're going to use this song for our adverts or for our movie or for whatever.
They come to you as a publisher, not the artist.
Sometimes they come to the artist and then the artist will alert us and say, guys, there's something like this, please negotiate so that you guys get the best deal for me.
Also, that's you guys do all of that?
Yeah, we do the admin.
At least then the artist doesn't have a lot of pressure on them.
No, they don't. But obviously some feel, I'm right here, let me just do everything myself, and then only to find that you could have gotten more money had you just allowed us to help negotiate.
Do things the right way.
So obviously now you get the brand, they approach you, and then they say the song is gonna be for maybe 3 months. It's going to be on TV, radio, online, and then obviously all those are the terms. Yeah, those are the terms we use to calculate how much we should charge. And then we say, okay, for something like this, maybe let's say, okay, first of all, we look at how big was the song itself. Right. You know what I mean? Obviously, the publisher and then the people on the master are also involved. Right. So let's say we all settle on 3 months, blah blah blah. We're like, okay, maybe let's do 150. Right. So per side. So it's gonna be they're gonna pay 150,000 for publishing to clear, and then they're also gonna pay 150 to clear the master. So in total it's 300,000.
Oh, okay. So it does.
So whatever you do on the left,
you end up winning. Yeah, you have to balance the scale.
So if you own your masters, you get an even bigger percentage. If you don't own your masters, then you get whatever you signed off of with the label at the time. So similarly with publishing, whatever splits you agreed on.
Yeah.
So obviously now the ad, so you get that upfront fee, the clearance fee, and then the ad starts playing on TV and radio.
Right.
Then your SAMRO performance royalties kick in.
They also start counting.
Yeah, because obviously now the song is being
generates.
So every time the ad plays, you're still earning a SAMRO.
At least, man. Then I guess
so for 3 months,
the
in Mali, about a year later, it comes back through SAMRO.
Is it a just for Pete's sake? I'm wondering. Imagine as it accumulates like that. When it is paid out, does it come out as a
lump sum,
or is it something that is on a monthly basis? How does it work? Because I think artists would definitely want to know something like that. Because if your music is published through the 9 channels, you want to know how much you'd probably be able to make. Though it would be different with the popularity of the song, like you say.
SAMRO pays out. They have a schedule, so if you go onto their website, they have a schedule and they'll tell you what they're paying at what time. So there's when they pay radio in general, that's like huge because it's like
that's where high rotation.
Yeah, the radio and TV they come out there, and then there's internet, which is
streaming and
stuff. And then there is what's this cinema, various times of the year. There's always a payment that comes out. Different times of the year, there's always money coming in. So obviously, if you're big on radio, you're gonna get a bigger piece, yeah. And obviously, different stations pay at different times. Some pay quarterly, some
their
pay
rating as well also counts in that, because if it's a small station, how far can your song go? So national will also be able to pay you more.
Like your metros, your 947.
That's right, the radio 2000 and such. Those are mainstream.
Yeah, those are mainstream. Yeah. Commercial and public broadcasters or SABC, they pay.
They're always the best, because
they pay
I don't think you'll be able to get a lot from a local.
The community is
not so much. Those guys are actually just trying. I think even the people that they end up employing are just on a volunteering basis. There's no money in that industry. But anyway, it's a beautiful one, because I think that's where all art started. You have to bounce off somewhere. I want to come back to 89, 91 and just bring it back to where you and your sister started it off. Because I think we've been talking about the business of it. But I want to find out now, in 2012, what the hell happened? What made you say, I want to start a music publishing? Or at the time it was just artist management. You must have been involved in music somehow. And I want to know that part. What happened when you guys said, with your sister, let's do this and it's going to be for this and this is where our target is going to be headed? What was up with that?
In 2012, when we started the company, we wanted a franchise. But then we didn't have the 10% when you go to funding institutions.
Exactly.
So then it's like, okay, both of us don't make music. I mean, we have a passion for it, we love it. So at the time, my friends were are artists. So I'm like, let's help.
They were already in it.
Yeah, the guys were making music.
Exactly. So it would have made it easy for you to say, we can manage you before going out to look for Abantu, because you're already doing the stuff and we're friends.
And we're friends, right? You know what I mean? So that's how we started. But it never really picked up. But I guess the more you do it, you're doing research, you're attending music conferences,
the thing gets polished,
you keep doing these things, to the point where from management it just naturally gravitated towards publishing. Because obviously with management there's that money thing.
Always that tug of war between the artist and the person who's managing, because I'm bringing in the gigs and you're performing. At the same time, you wouldn't be able to perform if I don't bring in the gigs. So it's a give and take situation.
I mean? and there's also the money just to promote the music. You need that too. And that is in surplus. Like it's just minute. So it's like I was spending too much money pouring into taking this thing off the ground.
And since you were not able, I'm sorry to cut you there, since you were not able to get the funding to start it off, how were you able to? You had to dig in your own pocket.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So that's when we, as you're trying to get the song onto radio, you hear someone saying, but where's your RISA, your publishing details?
Then you don't know what you're talking about.
Don't know what that is. I didn't know what that is. I didn't know what RISA was.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't know what publishing was. So obviously now you start doing research.
It forces you to start doing research, because now I need to know these things, because that's the language they're speaking of.
Exactly. And obviously in my mind, I'm thinking, they want payola.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like, yo, this is
how
where
is
your
that
money
thing though?
is.
Is it still? It will never die, right?
Man, they find ways around it. You know, they find.
I guess you can very good now. You have to pay so there's a toll gate that you're always gonna find. Even in a roadblock, I guess that's what we still experience today. So on a bigger scale like that, where you're producing that's going to be able to generate money, somehow for that radio station to say, listen, you want your song to be played, there's the envelope. Open this when you get home.
I don't think it's ever that frank, but you need somehow, I don't know.
Include it there somewhere.
Somehow you need to find, because obviously a lot of compilers are very cautious about Ipeo. You know what I mean? They're very, very cautious. You know, because I remember even when I was at Trace TV, you know, people would offer email, and you're like, hey, do I want to be known as the person who takes email?
And once you get that reputation,
you're done.
Because someone is going to tell someone else, no, don't worry about him.
So
he takes what you get.
And obviously at Trace TV, someone like guys from, you know, big superstars from the rest of the continent, you know, will be like, no, I'll give you €1,000. That's a lot of money, and it's like no, I don't want to be known for this.
You're buying the devil,
you know what I mean? And obviously, when someone comes at you like that, that's when you tell them, it's take that money and go hire someone who can shoot a better video. Because clearly you've got the money.
You've got the money, so you don't have to go through.
You don't need to go through the.
I'm trying to be on the right side.
Your best product,
exactly.
You know what I mean? And it takes time, because obviously the one thing that I learned while I was working there was that, listen, these people are not in the business of breaking artists.
Right.
These people are in the business of selling adverts.
Because that's where the money comes from.
You know what I mean? So obviously, if we're playing a lot of unknown people,
who's gonna be who's gonna be wanting to watch? Because it's either you bring the big names or you go home.
Exactly.
I guess that's a bit bitey there.
Because obviously, you know, their jobs are on the line, the compilers, you know what I mean? So,
and they also have KPIs out that they have to reach. If you're not making the targets, we're going to cut the show, we're going to get another show in.
Then we need to replace you and put someone in.
Entertainment industry.
So there's all those things. So that's why they always want to know, what are your social media numbers, all of those things, you know.
And if you're not bringing in the numbers, you're
unlikely to get a good look. Unless the video is just so beautiful. But obviously, even then,
the budget has
it'll
to be
only
bigger.
be played maybe in the early hours where not a lot of people are watching. But
you need prime time.
But prime time is reserved
That's
for the people who keep the ears and eyes on.
You can't run away from it.
You know what I mean?
And now an artist who's obviously had the knowledge of finding out what 8991 does, and the great work that you obviously do, has to approach you somehow. And if they're able to approach you, what is it that you're able to do for them to a point where the music is out there, and Samuel and all the other industries that are able to pay out and safeguard that? From the time that you take that artist, what are the steps towards the finished product?
Okay, so obviously we need an agreement in place to say this is how we're going to split the money, this is how long the contract is going to be, all of those things. And then we take that very contract, you know, along with the music and all the supporting documents, your ID and blah, blah, blah. We take all of those things, we give it to Samuel and to say, and Capasso as well, to say, this is so-and-so, we represent them, here's the proof.
Right.
Because obviously in the past, I'm told, before we were even in the business, you know, in apartheid, a lot of weird things used to happen. So people would claim that they represent so-and-so, whereas they don't.
Get out of it.
Bruh.
And that they'd obviously be able to cash in.
You know what I mean? So obviously now you have to supply the contract, and then Sandro looks at it, Capasso looks at it, and
validates,
says, okay,
everything is in order.
And then they pay according to what's on the agreement.
And you're obviously able to take care of your client, because that person would be your client being signed under.
Exactly. So Sandro pays directly. So 100 Rand for the song. Oh, okay. The contract, you guys are splitting 70-30. Okay, 70 goes to the artist, me, 30% goes to a publisher.
And it's a clean deal because the numbers are there on the table.
Exactly.
Right.
So Sandro pays everything into your pocket. You know what I mean?
Because it comes from there, and the paper clearly says it's 70-30. So what are you asking now?
Exactly.
All right. Now what I want to find out, just as we draw to a close, kakhulukazi when it comes to how people will be able to get through to you guys, because the work that you do is really incredible.
Yeah.
I know ukuthi you do have my social links, and that is always a possibility. ukuthi umuntu athi, once I refer to that part, then I'll be able to get through to the person that I need to get through to, like Luyanda here.
Yeah.
So how do people get through to you?
Okay, we have a website, www.8991.co.za. On social media, 8991, 80NINE, 89 and then 90ONE.
Okay.
You'll find us everywhere at 8991. So you'll find us there, or you can drop us an email, Luyanda at 8991.co.za, and then you'll talk to me personally, and then you just send us your music, because obviously we work off of potential. We don't work on
anyone that just wants to throw it in there, because I mean,
music,
really,
you know?
let's hear what you got.
Let's hear what you got.
And just for reference sake, 4 or 5 maybe artists that you've worked with, and that people would probably recognize, which would be actually a better thing, because that's where they can make a reference point. Oh, so they've worked with that guy, then I definitely want to contact them.
So as I mentioned, which ended up on Black Panther, so we were involved in that process. Yeah, that's probably like one of our key highlights. We've got Umobiyazo. We represented him until he signed to Mabala. Now he's with Mabala.
Bro.
But everything is back catalog. His back catalog.
Still comes back to you.
We still administer it on his behalf.
Right.
Sibunzuza, he's at Ambitious, you know. We've got Uyashna, who's doing really, really well.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the year she goes mainstream.
Get out here.
We've got Abdus, legendary hip-hop rapper.
Definitely been out there, yeah.
You know what I mean? So we also are sorting out his back catalog, because he's never had a publisher. So, you know, when we signed him, we cleaned it up, and everything is now in order.
Bro, you definitely have a beautiful history there, and you've compiled it so well. And I can see that with the caliber of people that you've worked with, you've definitely been able to do the right thing the right way.
Yeah, I mean, people, our clients are happy. Yeah. You know.
Guess that makes you happy too.
Yeah, I mean, if they're happy, then we're all happy, because
the
last thing we need is for them to be unhappy. But then obviously, you know, sometimes they do get frustrated because their careers are not taking off. And I always tell them it's a patience thing.
Exactly.
Patient.
And you need to project yourself, because if you want to jump off just when the light came on, you know, you might get hurt on the way. You know, you need to.
Because you'll have your hits, and then you won't even know about publishing. You won't even know. You won't have the right people around you to
have the same problem that you had when they started dropping jargon on you, and you don't want to have that
now
problem.
You're frustrated. You're like, I
know exactly what you mean. So that is Luyanda Mbhele of 8991. That's a local music, independent actually. Publishing company that deals with music and managing artists and having their work sorted out properly, so that it is out there to the industry and it is taken care of. And of course, we're just talking professionalism here, because it's very easy to create a song and put it out there, but sometimes it will fly away, that song, and you won't be able to catch it back. The only way that you can is by including guys like 8991 to come through and make sure that they categorize your stuff properly and make sure that they file it properly, so that you can actually get your royalties even after your songs start playing. So Luyanda, thank you so much. It's unfortunate that we didn't have your sister come through, but the fact that you took your time and came through to the Unfiltered Studios is really a privilege. And thank you so much again.
Thank you very much. Maybe we'll in future we'll have another sit down, and
we definitely have to.
Be available.
We definitely have to. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Man.
Cheers.
Yeah, let me cut that.
That was fun. On Talk Radio, Show. You got a great voice.
Thanks, King.